What's up? It's me, it's BKG back in the building. How you guys doing? It's episode 7. We've been doing this for 7 weeks now. We've had 8 amazing people on the shows. If y'all recall, we had Grim and Erratic on a co-show. Today we have a very, very special guest. A lot of you guys know him. We got an amazing racing league to talk about. We got amazing upgrades to talk about, different kind of wheels. Every sim racer seems to have their own kind of wheel, but I hope everybody's doing well. Hope the holidays are going well. I know you guys know maybe I had a rough week. Rest in peace to my buddy Ross. Passed away a couple weeks ago. We celebrated his funeral this weekend, celebrated his life. So I appreciate everybody who put those kind words out there. Thank you very much. It means a lot. It does not go unnoticed, and I hope I got back to each and every one of you. I'm really excited. We're a little bit later in the week because of everything that kind of happened this weekend, but you will not be disappointed. I'm very excited to have our guest in today, coming all the way from New Jersey. You guys give him a warm Viking welcome. Welcome McNaughty into the stream. What's up, big dog? How you doing, sir? Let me make sure this is working. We got it. How you doing, brother? I see you. I see you. How you doing, big dog? Good to see you. Good to see you. How's life treating you? Appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you. Father to father, man. We had to make it late because the kiddos had to go to bed. And we've been, man, I appreciate you. I know we've been going back and forth for like a week and a half now because we had started getting this done, scheduled in last week. And we had talked about this actually for weeks and weeks, getting prepared for this. So I'm really excited that you're here. Thank you for constantly adjusting to day after day after day. I do see like the frame rate stuff happening again, so maybe that'll clean up as we go. But I hope I still got you there. Can you hear me? All right. I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. But hopefully your screen fixes for a sec. We always have something every time. We're going to refresh McNaughty. There we go. See? The best smile on YouTube right there. Hopefully it freeze frames on the smile. You have dubbed yourself, and you've been told, you told me, that you've been complimented quite a bit on your smile. So I'm glad it's stuck on your smile right now, and hopefully it cleans up. What's up, TK's Hulky? Thank you guys for coming in. Oh, no, man. All right, so we got... Hopefully we got sound and everything. All right, so if we can kind of backtrack, maybe we can get the screens fixed up. I just want to kind of reintroduce you to everybody now that we got the audio fixed. So we got McNaughty in the building, all the way from New Jersey. We're trying to get all this stuff fixed up. This is live, you guys, live on set, all the way from New Jersey, Arizona. Live. We got it. We got it. I think we got it. All right. Either way, brother, we're going to go ahead, or we're going to try to keep it rolling. Freeze frames are good. As long as we got the audio, hopefully it cleans up here. Hopefully get the frames going. But there's always something. With Greasy, it was audio. With Papa, it was trying to get the Discord cams going. We had the cans flip backwards before already. But I think the people love to see it no matter what.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
All right, so I want to get started. We have a long show today. We've already been talking, so I know that we're going to have a lot of content to talk about. If it stays right there, that's just fine, because you do got a great smile, sir. I want to talk about the most important things from the start. You are a husband and a father. You wear that very proudly. So you've been married 6.5 years, father of 2, and a New Jersey native. Is that correct?
That is correct. Born and raised in New Jersey, married to my beautiful wife for 6 years, got 2 kids. My wife is born and raised in New Jersey too, man. It's a New Jersey thing out
New
here.
Jersey Devils, man. So you were telling me that you were telling me that there's a little bit of a difference between where you're from in New Jersey. You told me that you are a central New Jerseyan, and that there's a difference between kind of where you get off on the exits on the turnpikes and kind of the lingo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So New Jersey's got these little quirks about ourselves where we like to identify by where we are in relation to the New Jersey Turnpike.
Right.
Uh, so like it's like, okay, are you exit 9, exit 10, exit 14? Are you close to that IKEA in Elizabeth? Uh, so we tend to distance ourselves by that. And then there's this whole thing about North and South New Jersey, whether you're a fan of New York sports, Philadelphia sports, whether you call that piece of meat a pork roll or Taylor ham. But a lot of people overlook that middle part of the state, called Central Jersey. It is a real thing, near Rutgers University.
Rutgers. You said
Um,
you're Rutgers alumni, right?
that's right. Went to Rutgers, got my undergraduate engineering degree there. Uh,
Congratulations.
Good times. So I was there back when Rutgers had that season where they got up to number 7 in the AP poll in
Oh, was
college
that so?
rankings.
I went to a Rutgers bowl game, and I
Mhm.
think they played. I don't know. It might have been they might have played ASU. I can't remember if it was U of A or ASU. But I remember watching Rutgers play live. And that might have been kind of around the same season. I'm 36, so I graduated college and with my undergrad in 2012. Took me a little bit longer, but might have been around. Say, how old are
Yeah.
you?
Well, hold on. You're younger than me.
I
I graduated with my undergrad in 2009.
Oh man, so I was at least we are in college at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I graduated
So
high school in '06 though. So I had transferred majors 2 years in. I was in Eller, so Arizona's business college, and then I transferred in the School of Psychology. So I have like all these wasted credits, from business school. I probably should have went back and just finished that anyways.
gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I graduated high school in '05, so I'm kind of right there with you, man.
The
We're
Reggie Bush era.
we're Yes, yes.
Yes. Good
So
times.
funny thing about Reggie Bush, right? The first college football game, obviously outside of Rutgers, that I watched was in uh, I was in my dorm freshman year, and it was the national championship game between USC and Texas. So that was like Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart,
Right.
Vince Young, and I was like, Texas is number 2, so let me root for those guys.
Oh,
And then
what a
they
run.
won the game, and I was like, okay, outside of Rutgers, it's hook 'em horns for me, because I was like, I
Yeah.
rooted for them.
Yeah.
I rooted for them, and I was like, huh?
They may have won the game. Reggie gave the game away first and foremost.
I mean,
And
that defense gave the game
oh,
away. It's 4th and 6, man. You know he's gonna run.
yeah, but
He escapes the pocket to the right
it
side.
was the toss back to what Lindell White, the toss back
Mm,
play that he did. I mean,
mm,
because I mean, in essence, USC had the game, and Texas stayed in it. And get the last second run in by what Vince Young on
yeah.
the rollout. We all knew that was coming, but Reggie doesn't pitch that ball. That game doesn't have the momentum in Texas' favor, and USC completes the greatest dynasty I think of all college football outside of Miami back in the day. But
Mm,
I don't know,
mm.
man. What a time to watch college football. How do you feel? How do you feel about Reggie getting his Heisman back?
I think it makes sense. I think these kids should have been paid long time ago. So I think to get that back, is a good thing.
100%.
These kids make billions of dollars for their universities, right? And for the longest time they weren't compensated, and now you got NIL, and these kids, like, if Travis Hunter never set foot into the NFL, which he will, but if he never did, he would be all right. He would be all right.
Yeah, and I mean, how do you feel about Travis Hunter winning?
I think it's well deserved.
There he is.
He is, you know, obviously
Unique
he's
for
best
sure.
defensive player and he's a top tier receiver as well. So
Yeah.
like you put it together, it's like, come on, man,
He
you
get
can't argue
1,100
that.
yards. I think he had 1,100 yards receiving, and then he played, almost more defensive snaps than anybody on the gridiron. So, I mean,
I mean,
we just haven't seen that.
yeah, man, you don't, you
But
rarely see. It's like once in a generation type talent there.
shout out to the Boise running back. What did he get, like 2,500 yards too?
Yeah, but you know
Tough.
what? The thing that they're gonna knock him because it's Mountain West.
Yeah,
So
yeah, true that. And
unless
that
you're
was
in
the
the
big
big,
argument is it's Mountain West. So
yeah,
let's get back on track. So we're definitely big college football fans. Shout out to Rutgers, man. Awesome university, amazing alumni to be a part of. I'm sure that you're very prideful about that. Congratulations on being an engineer. You said more specifically, you're kind of on the tech side, right?
yeah. So I went to school for electrical and computer engineering, and then um I got my first role as a network engineer. And then I developed a passion for cloud computing, so I got into that, and then that turned into a little bit of coding. So I learned some Python, a couple things here and there, some command line type stuff, some shell scripts, and I've been able to mold all that into my role now as an infrastructure engineer, which basically is a hybrid of network routers and switches,
Holy
and
smoke.
cloud backend and all that kind of stuff.
So for guys like me who may not
Yeah.
understand all of that, if I were to be able to say, "Hey, I got a guy," what kind of question would I have to be asked to say, "Hey, I got a guy," and that guy's McNaughty?
Uh, Man, my Wi-Fi is not working. That would be a me type thing. My website's not loading properly.
Okay, my
That
camera's
that might be a
freezing.
me.
But if my camera's freezing, I'm SOL.
Well, yeah, I got no answers to that. It
Dude,
keeps coming
it's
back.
all good, man. It's a radio show, anyways. Now it's the people are listening and driving. That's the most feedback I get is that people love to drive in their car and listen to our voices, anyways. So you guys can catch us. You can catch McNaughty on his channel anytime. You can see his face. But we're here for the meat and potatoes, man. We got McNaughty and the Shotty, and we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of what really brought him here, how the NRL was formed, why he's on YouTube, where all the success came, where the passion comes from. The more I talk to, and and if you guys haven't already seen, it's Kevin. The more I talk to Kevin, there he is.
I'm back. I'm
The
back.
more I realize that he gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and there's more behind him. And if you guys and you go read the bios on his channel and you kind of dig into it and just all the bio information you provided me, I really want to say it's a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm really excited to kind of get into some of the topics that you want to talk about. So let's go back to the beginning of your YouTube career. You're telling me that you've loved sim racing for quite a long time. You used to play with your friends growing up, like the first couple of games over at their house, and then you got into Gran Turismo a little bit more serious, I guess, around Gran Turismo 4, and that led into Gran Turismo Sport era, where you decided to get your first rig and wheel set up. Let's kind of go from there. When you started to do that, where you got the bite from. You said that Super GT was a big inspiration, and then a good buddy of yours kind of convinced you to jump on camera. Tell me a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, so I mean, I had been playing, like you said, from childhood, and then when as an adult, I saw Super GT with his Gran Turismo Sport videos, and then you know, I played Gran Turismo 7 because I was gonna get a PlayStation 5 anyway, because I'm also a big Final Fantasy fan, and Final Fantasy 7 remake was coming out, so I was like, I'm gonna buy a PS5 anyway, or yeah, I'm gonna buy a PS5 anyway. So let me play Gran Turismo 7 because I know I like the Gran Turismo games, and I'm a big boy now, so let me get a wheel too. So I got my G923, and I got my Next Level Racing FGT. No, not FGT. GT Light
Okay,
cockpit. And the nice thing about that is it
it's
can
like
fold
the
up.
you're
You
right.
put it away. right? So my wife doesn't yell at me about how I have all this crap in the room. And then, I had a friend over, like you said, and he's like, "Yo, it looks like you're pretty good at this game. You should stream it." And I was like, "You know what? Let me give it a shot." So, I did some races. I tuned into some streamers that I would race against, and one in particular, Gremlin Pit. He he really gave me like the confidence to like step into the ring and try it out. So I did, and like most streamers for a couple weeks there, I was just practicing, essentially talking to the camera, talking to myself, right?
Right.
And no
Yeah, that's kind of
subscribers,
how it
no
starts, man.
viewers.
You got to get through. That's really like the I think that's probably the hardest part of the whole thing is starting out, and you get like those first you have nobody, and you're just hoping somebody's going to go back and watch, and then you get like your 2, your 3, and we were talking to earlier, we are laughing about it, like you don't want them to leave, like please don't leave. I'm going to do better and better, I promise.
Yeah. Like Talon was one of the first, right? Talon
Shout out
Talon
Talon.
67, right? We all know him. He's like the first guy. He came into my chat, and I actually went and found that stream from the other day. Um because I'll go back and I look at them. Anybody can look at them, right? Like
Yeah.
just scroll back to my oldest streams. I don't take them down because it serves to humble me, right?
Right.
And Town was one of the first guys to hop into the chat and like actually conversate with me, about racing around Red Bull Ring and whatnot. And he was giving me confidence. He was like, "Hey, you can do it," blah blah blah. And it took him a while. It took him like a week or so of hanging out before he decided to hit that subscribe button. But he's definitely one of the first subscribers to the channel, and he's stuck with me ever since. And I'm always going to be appreciative of that.
Big shout out to Talon, man. I love Talon.
Yeah.
Talon has been an awesome supporter of me as well. Always friendly, always energetic. Definitely want to bring in. We got some of your teammates in here right now. We got T Case, who I know is a legend in NRL for you.
TKs.
Shout out to TK. What is it? It's Toon, T Case, and Slow Mo are like the OGs of the NRL. So we're definitely going to get to those guys. We got Chris Wood in here. Hulky Racing is up in here. Chronic is in here. Detention is in here. Misa already donated some memberships. T Case became a weekend warrior. We got 10NZ. We got a lot of people in here that are big fans of yours and the NRL. So we're gonna definitely get into that here in a second. But when did you decide that it was time to get the big boy rig? You brought that up. So we just get a little bit older and our toys get a little bit more expensive. And I would definitely want to show this off. So as we're bringing up these graphics, why don't you tell us a little bit about your wheel here, your pedals, your setup?
Yes.
This is nice, man. This is real nice.
So that is my Logitech G Pro. It is the Logitech direct drive offering up to 11 newton meters of torque. Obviously, I turned that down because I'm not working out like how I used to before kids.
No, none
and
of us
then
are.
yeah, and then we got there in the foreground. That's actually two products. The RS Wheel Hub, which allows you to put on a wheel plate, so to speak. So that's the RS Wheel Hub, which is actually set up for Xbox, and then the track wheel is the front face of that.
Gotcha.
And it allows me to have compatibility with PC, PlayStation, and
so I was wondering
Xbox.
about that because I do see the Xbox logo there, and that got me, a little bit more interested. I've seen, Eric is a Moza man. We've had, you have Marley. He's on the Sim Magic. A lot of us are on Fanatec stuff. But so why did you go with Logitech in the beginning? Was there a preference, or did it just kind of happen? Did it end up in your cart?
Well, so I started on the G923 because that's one of the more universally recognized starter wheels, right? It has good resale value. It's good at what it does, and then basically that turned into a decision. Oh, I had an issue with that G923, and I had to call up Logitech customer service, and they were really good to work with. And then they shipped me a replacement free of charge. I was able to keep the old one because they weren't able to figure out what was going on with it over the phone, and then I then I was able to open it up and fix it myself. Um,
It
and I
looks
was like, you know,
comfortable too.
yeah, that customer service experience really stuck with me, and I had heard quite a bit of horror stories from the community about Fanatec, their response time and all of that. So I decided, I was like, you know what, let's just take the dive. This direct drive just came out, and I for as long as I've had it, I've liked it, and I did have one hiccup recently with customer service, but even that eventually got resolved. And yeah, the wheel works great, and I think the pace on track isn't too bad either. So I can't
Nice.
can't complain.
I mean, it looks slick. And Hulky is asking, is it easy to use the programming on this wheel?
Uh,
As far as
I
maybe
yeah.
firmware updates or things like that, do you have to do anything, or is it just kind of plug and play?
Yeah, so the major thing is that when you buy it, the first thing you want to do is you want to connect it to your PC. There's a program called G Hub that's actually for more than the steering wheel. Like if you have a Logitech headphones or mouse or a
Right.
microphone, like a Blue Yeti mic or something like that, they all connect to your computer with this software, and then you can update the firmware through there. It's really essential that you get the firmware upgraded on your wheelbase first without
Right.
anything else connected, like your pedals, and
Ah,
then you can further upgrade the firmware on all your other peripherals.
cool
So
beans. Well, if you guys are interested in the direct drive by Logitech, man, definitely get a hold of McNaughty. It sounds like he's gone through a little bit of trial and error, and we know he knows what he's doing. Let's get into this rig here. I think we got the same GT Omega Prime rig, right? Is that what that looks like?
yes, the
That
Omega Prime cockpit, man. I tell you, it's stable. It is one
it
stable
is a
piece
strong
of
beast.
hardware.
It is heavy
Yeah.
and it is sharp. I've learned,
Oh,
as my
yeah.
3-year-old, actually, a crazy story that happened a couple weeks ago. My 3-year-old came running into the room, and I have been meaning to put some kind of stickies or some kind of corner protection on the back base where it's cut right there. And she came
Mhm.
running in, slid, and knee went right into the corner of that. I almost passed out from thinking that she like split her knee in half, but it was just like the perfect little cut. Like, luckily,
Oh man.
luckily she doesn't carry too much momentum. But oh my gosh, and I do warn people, if you are gonna get the square cut frames, that you are gonna want to make sure you watch your toes around them, because those things they'll cost you one.
Sheesh, sheesh.
So let's look into why the GT Omega Prime. Was it specifically GT? I know there's a couple other frames out there, or is it again kind of just luck of the draw?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have as a great story about that. I knew I needed to get something that was more stable than the GT Lite that I had, because I upgraded my wheelbase first, and that thing was flexing, man. You could
Yeah,
see, like, anytime I turned that wheel, like it was like the whole thing was gonna snap off. And there was the play seat, and it didn't really look all that sturdy for something that has 11 newton meters of torque.
right.
Um, but I looked at a Digit video, actually. Big shout out to Digit, by
Shout
the
out to
way.
Digit, savage.
And
I think he's like
you know
third
he
in the world this week.
yeah,
Ridiculous,
yeah, he's a speed demon, man.
ridiculous.
Even faster from back then, man. Like, cause
I know. Watching his
he
transition, I talked to him early on because we both had, like, he was telling me he started out on a play seat too. So I think he started out kind of that same like wobbly neck, and then I went to like the play seat with a welded neck, and so that was nice. But
Mhm.
as soon as I got the CSL Elite, like, I mean, I felt like I was going to tip my shoulder over or tip my chair over, and it was only like 4 Newton meters. So I can imagine, man, a DD on one of those has got to be brutal.
Yeah, yeah. So he put it together in that video, and like he was like jumping on it and stuff, and I was like, okay, I think this will definitely suit my needs. Um So yeah, and it's pretty convenient. That mounting plate has like about 50 holes on it. So like no matter
Yes.
what wheelbase you have, you really can't go wrong with it, right?
Yeah, I
So
see that yours is slanted differently than mine, which is interesting. Maybe because that it looks like that Logitech has a different slant. I'm on the DD1, so it's kind of a very square base. But I'm wondering if maybe I should change the angle. Just looking at yours now, have you looked
yeah.
into the angling, or did you kind of have to go through some trial and error with that?
So the reason why that it's angled like that is because if you put the Logitech wheelbase flat, right, it actually angles up at like a 5 degree angle or so. So I had to tilt it downwards so that way the wheel was flush
That's a really
with
good bit of
me.
information because I mean, for somebody who doesn't know that, who might not have that, I know not every one of these has the accessory where you can adjust that base plate like that. So definitely, if you guys are looking into that Logitech, understand kind of the shape and form of that base with that degree of kind of, I guess you would call it a incline for sure,
Yeah,
depending.
yeah.
So, and your pedals here, you're running a different set of pedals too that I've never seen. This is new for me. What are these here?
Yeah, so when Logitech released the G Pro direct drive wheelbase, they also released the Pro pedal set, which are load cell pedals. You can see there for the brake, which is over there on the left, obviously. That casing that's behind the pedal that actually opens up, and then you can adjust it with different elastomers, and it basically makes the brake force needed to achieve 100% change depending on what elastomers you put in there.
Nice.
Um, the gas pedal on the right, that's a basic spring, but they do give you three different springs, so you can have one that's stiffer or less stiff
And I've
than
noticed
the
kind of
default.
as you upgrade that. Well, and I've just noticed this since I've upgraded the V3s and I've seen some of the load cell. They have a much smoother pedal structure, whereas some of the first Logitechs that I was on and even the V2s, they had like a rubbery. Do you have like a preference? Do you race in socks or shoes? I know you don't really do the foot cam thing, but kind of what's your
Yeah,
preference
so
there?
well, there's a reason why I don't do the foot cram, because most of the time when I stream, I actually race barefoot.
Oh,
So like
okay,
the
okay.
feeling, the feeling of the pedals really matters to me, because like I actually feel that on my
Interesting.
toes.
So I
And then the other thing about that the pedals there, it actually comes with a clutch pedal, right? So the clutch
gotcha.
pedal would be all the way on the side there, right? And the brake pedal is technically in the middle, but I actually took the clutch pedal out. I was like, I don't need this, right? Because I use the paddle shifters.
Gotcha.
So for the type of racing that I was doing, right? Like I don't have like the shift stick either, right? So like I knew I was playing Gran Turismo 7, and I moved the gas and the brake pedal as far apart as possible because it's more comfortable for me. Like I
Yeah.
have I have long legs. I'm 6'1", but I have like the legs of like a 6'4" person.
Gotcha.
So spacing it out is way more comfortable for me.
Long-legged McNaughty, man. How did McNaughty come to existence? Because I mean it's an instant classic. It's one of those names that like it's gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah.
And you're lucky to get the first one. So what happened? Is it like a Mickey D's thing or is it you let me know?
No, McNaughty is my name. Like that is so my first name is Kevin, right? As indicated in this graphic right here, right? So I am not the only Kevin like in my group of friends, right? So
Ah,
going like 20 years back, right? Like um we needed a way to be able to tell all of the Kevins apart, right?
that's
And
funny.
essentially it's just a play on my last name, right? So like a lot of the other ones that they call them by their actual last name because it's shorter, but for me, they flipped the letter at the end, and then that was pretty much it.
Gotcha.
And I've been McNaughty ever since. So like McNaughty is not a YouTube thing. It's not a social media thing. It's not a Gran Turismo thing. it's literally who I am in my group of friends.
That's
So
kind of like me. I got asked a question the other day, and I think it was
yeah.
on Keystream, and somebody was like, "Viking, are you really a Viking, or are you what did he say? Are you culturally appropriating?" And I was like, "Well,
Oh man.
actually,
Wow.
according to Ancestry.com, I'm related to one of the Rhesus Vikings from the 11th century, and he was a Viking king. So it's actually like a part of my DNA, which is really cool. And I mean, I guess that's where the beard comes from. And it used to be, I don't know if you saw in the beginning when I started YouTube, man, my beard was like way down here. But as I got back into the professional life, I had to kind of cut and chop, and it is what it is. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that out. I'm gonna have to pull up your old clips, man.
yeah, you got to look at who is Viking King Gaming. It was like the first video. I felt like when I got into YouTube, I had to do like an introductory video. So I spent so much time. I wrote a script. I made up like a whole scene. I set up cameras and like lights, and I had my whole phone in front of me so I could like stay on point, because it wasn't natural yet. I had never been in front of a camera, so I was so nervous. But I was like, I got to introduce myself somehow. So it's a good watch, but it kind of shows. I mean, I had even tried to like straighten it out, even because I'd never been on camera, and for me it looks ridiculous. But I remember we were talking earlier, like we don't want to take down those first videos because it's the story. It's like where we've come from there. I go back every once in a while and look at like my first Gran Turismo video, and it's so bad, man. It's so bad. I'm not even engaging. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm racing like weekly races. Before I was even on dailies, I've only been in the sim racing thing for like 7 months, and competitively maybe for like 4 to 5 months. And I'm getting a little faster. I got a little speed to me, but racecraft is constantly evolving.
Well, I'll say that you for 7 months you're definitely way ahead of the game compared to a lot of people, including myself. Where I was at 7 months, like
Thank you.
you're putting this together. This Behind the Wheel series is like incredible.
Thank you, man.
Your dedication to the craft.
Thank you.
You're out here setting times like at Seaside. Or what? Where was Daily B the other week?
Oh,
You're out here setting times, and I was like, bro, this guy's got a time faster than me, man. I've been doing this for 2 years. I need to level up or something, man.
I could qualify. So here's what I genuinely believe about qualifying. Right, I come from the generation of video games that you couldn't turn off. If you turned it off, that was it. If you lost your 3 lives, that was it. I remember playing like Lion King and just hating that game, and Aladdin, and like. These games were so freaking hard because you couldn't reset them. And I hate to know now, because I know people jump in like, actually, you can reset. You can do this or that if you do this little thing. We didn't know that back then. We didn't have YouTube. It was, if the thing worked, it worked. If it didn't, you just tried it again. But for me, qualifying is like that. Like it's a kind of a coding of my brain. Where I really struggle is the racecraft. And that's, and it frustrates me so much when I get like, a top 1,000 qualifying time, and I can't even keep up with like the B class or C class racers. So what is it? You said you've been doing this for a while. What would you say is kind of the best advice you can give for somebody who wants to get into sim racing, wants to get into wheels, racecraft, the community? What do you think is kind of the main aspects you should focus on if you really do want to be a quick driver out here?
Start and do not hesitate. Just go in. And like honestly, like I'm the opposite of you, right? You're good at qualifying, and then something happens during the race, and the racecraft that's an issue. I'm the other way, right? So like I cannot for the life of me like get extra out of the car. I can't get any extra pace out of the car. So like I'll go into the qualifying and I'll set a time, and then in the race I'll set that exact same time. Where you should be able to go like maybe a second faster in qualifying, but I can't.
I'm like 3 seconds behind my quali times. If I can get close to 3 seconds on my quali time, I feel like I'm decent. But it's a different mode, man. I was watching you today race, and you had mentioned that you were like, I don't like to focus too much on the quality times. I like to get in the race and work my way through the field and just kind of get better and better and better. And I think you were running the vet today too, when I think I forget what track you were on. But how do you feel about like meta cars and like jumping around? I'm a big fan because I love my bow ties, man. I'm a Chevy man. So I love American cars, love American muscle. Why not the Meta, man? Do you have kind of any opinion on if you should drive the Meta or if you should kind of drive the cars you like?
Well, it honestly depends on what the meta is, right? If the meta is, a BMW M6 Sprinter endurance model, well, you can you can bet the house that I'm not going to drive the meta.
Yeah,
If the meta's the AMG, yeah, I'll hop in the meta, but it really just depends on whether there's a car that I feel comfortable with that's competitive enough. And I've been driving the Corvette a lot because of the Gran Turismo Endurance Championship that Racing Asylum holds. So my team drives that car. So um, just recently, I was part of the 24 Hours of Spa event, and
I caught a little bit of
that's
that.
like hours of driving the Corvette, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, if the Corvette is like good around here, I'll just use it, and it ends up working out, and
It's a tough car to
it's
drive, man. I
yeah.
love my vets, man, but that's tough. Kudos to you and like Z28, like always running them vets, man. I love it. I love it. Let's
Z 28's another breed. He's a former world tour finalist, man.
his wow.
He's got that.
He jumps in and it's awesome to
Yeah.
watch. It's good fun. It's good fun. So let's talk about a little bit about your room here. I wanted to kind of get into, you've done a lot of work on this sim room that you have. I don't know if we have another picture of that. We definitely got your swag and your your graphics. We'll
Wakanda
get to that.
forever.
But you were telling me, and like a lot of us, when we start out sim racing, we're kind of looking for a space, and we're kind of, as it gets more serious and the rig gets bigger, we start to frustrate the ladies a little bit. So you got kicked down into your basement, and you had to do some work. I know you had a lot of help with that. So what all did you have to do to kind of make this room possible? I don't know
Yeah.
if people
So
understand how hard that is.
well, we moved into this house like shortly before we got married, 6 years ago, and the basement was unfinished. So my older streams were upstairs in one of the spare bedrooms. When I started streaming, my older son was like 1 years old. He had just turned one. And then eventually, like, we knew that we were gonna try to have a second kid, and in order for me to continue streaming, or even continue playing, I knew that I was going to have to move somewhere else. And we had always planned to finish the basement just to get some extra living space. Um, but I have a friend who's a general contractor, and I have some experience with electrical engineering and you know the general basics of running electrical, so that way you can
Right.
get your electric permit and all that kind of stuff. So we teamed up together, essentially hired him, and then together we finished the basement. And then I'm the next day my GT Omega Prime cockpit rolled up down here, and then that was it. And I was like, you know what, I'm done, I got it. The new baby's on the way, and then the basement flooded, so we actually had to put it back together again. Uh, but yeah, I've been down here ever since. There's like this little office area. I have a PC that I use for OBS, and then the PlayStation's on a table. I got that keyboard on the wall over here.
Yeah, I was seeing
Uh,
that. You have a really cool screen set up here. I see the kind of the vertical screen that you got. You got the lighting. You got all the essentials. And I think if you're gonna stream, you got to have a decent mic. You got to have really good lighting, really important. And you got to have all the little accessories. I even see your little headphones hanging there. You got your keyboard mount up on the wall. What a cool idea to use some is it like cork boarding, to be able to add a little bit of accessory access there. I like that. You got the
yeah.
Honeywell air going right there. I see you, man. I see you got the essentials,
Ooh,
my guy.
yeah.
You got to have
Yeah,
air.
man.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if people understand. Racing is physical, and
Yes.
and it gets hot really quick. I have a little box fan that I use, and even then, it's really hard because I'm trying to make sure that it doesn't affect the sound quality as well. So does that Honeywell?
Yeah.
Is it pretty quiet? That's what the oscillating
It's
fan
it's decently quiet, but what I have going for my streams, like, I don't have it on right now. Like, if I turn it on right now, you would
to
hear
hear
it.
it?
But what OBS has in its functionality, you can actually turn on noise reduction or noise suppression.
Gotcha.
You can add that to your mic source, so it actually gets rid of all that background noise pretty efficiently. Um,
And you're
but
pretty familiar with
yeah,
OBS, actually. I mean, you were helping me today to get through OBS. So if anybody has some questions, man, hit him McNaughty. He knows what he's talking about, and he has a kind of advice that like he sees it in his head, so it's a lot easier. I was like, okay, I got to click there and do that. So I appreciate your help on
yeah,
that, man.
yeah, no worries, man. I feel like a lot of times, like, people run into issues, and I'm like, no, I banged my head on the
Right.
wall about that already. So
Yeah.
like, let me help you out.
I'm a member of YouTube University, man. If hopefully I can find it on there and work my way through it. It can be frustrating. You mentioned your team, man. I know you have a lot of pride in this team. This is your baby. This is something you've really worked on. There's a huge mission behind it, and your channel as well. But let's introduce everybody to the NRL. Tell us a little bit about the NRL, how it
Sure,
started,
sure.
and what the heck is it all about?
Okay, NRL Naughty Racing League. It might be the premier thing that my channel is known for, right? A league that I created back in 2023. Basically, the story behind it is like, a lot of creators out here, they make leagues and whatnot, and they put people together, and it's kind of cool and whatnot. But what ends up happening is that, when you join a league, sometimes you have expectations, fair or not fair expectations, right? Like, I'm not trying to character assassinate or anything like that, right? But I joined a league, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted, right? So rather than sit around and just be like, the league isn't this league is not good, or any of that kind of stuff. If I really wanted to see that vision come to life, the only answer to me was to actually create it myself. So fortunately, Tune, Slow Mo, TKs, they all hopped on at the first opportunity. um to help with the hosting, and we put season one together. By no means was it perfect, right? There were some growing pains, but what you guys are looking at on the screen right now is how far we've come. Like, this is now season four. We got Leo in the mix. We got Flawed Genius. TK's moved to Saturdays, and Tatiana joined us. And it all really came together. And it keeps continuing to grow, actually faster than my wildest expectations, right? So then, as far as the presentation goes, that's something I really take pride in. So what you're looking at right here now with the race settings and all that kind of stuff, those graphics, like that's the kind of stuff that like really piques my interest, right? Setting that stuff up so that way when you're watching this at home, not only are you watching like a good race, you're watching like a good presentation. So it's like something akin to like what you would see on TV. I'm not going to sit here and say that
No,
like
it
I'm
definitely
a
looks
TV
good. It
producer, but
definitely
like
looks good.
you know for Gran Turismo standards, I think it's you know it's as close as you would see. Um, so yeah, the hosts work in tandem with me. I got a whole production team. I got a steward team behind the scenes that do a lot of hard work behind the scenes, often going deep into the weekend, deep into the next week. We got Simon, who helped out like so many hours between me and him testing out these combinations. And again, not everything is going to be perfect, right? So like, um, yeah, like the amount of effort that goes in the NRL is like incredible, but we get more efficient each and every season. Um, but yeah, shout out to Wid for winning Division A.
No,
By the
it's so
way.
one of the things that I noticed about so I'm obviously I'm a member of PHG. Papa's House of Game got me early, and I shout out to Pop. I appreciate all the PHG members. They're absolutely amazing group. But that led me into really quickly noticing the NRL. And one of the things that I noticed right off the bat was the quality of presentation. So just kudos to you. I didn't get to see the early seasons. You know, I've only been around, you know, for so long. So I think you said that the NRL started what in 2023 was season one?
Yes. Season one, 2023. And then shortly after season one, we put together season two in the same year. Which is, you know, kind of crazy to think about, like how quickly we had that going. And you know, my wife and I, we found out we were having a second baby, so like there's like kind of a time crunch to get season three together. And then also I wanted to incorporate a lot of guys who wouldn't be able to race on Friday nights because you know, the Friday nights they start at like 8 p.m. Eastern, and you know they run for however long. Guys in the UK, you know, they can't do that, right?
Right.
Except for Spawn, because Spawn never sleeps. But you know, these guys, I was like, you know what, I want to be able to, you know, get more people involved. And the biggest reason why people weren't able to join NRL is just because of the time. So we extended it to Saturdays, and that really kind of opened it up. We had 23 people in season one, including qualifying for season four. We ended up having 60 something. So you know, it was our
Wow.
biggest season yet.
I mean,
So like,
that's no small feat, man. Especially coming from like how we were talking, just getting 3 people to watch you in the beginning to having 60 people try to qualify for your league. That's pretty impressive, sir.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, so like, you know, there was a little bit of burnout uh for me. And you know, a lot of people stepped up to help. Titanium, Buddy Lee, Root in the background core, you know, so many people just like hopped in. Keith, uh jeez, man. Uh Hovercraft from Sector 7 Racing. Man, I can go down the list, but like, you know, so many people offered to help out, even sacrificing their own drive to be able to help me put this together, and really save me time, because like I needed to save time, right? I have an infant child, right?
Right.
And you know, this season took place, season four took place just a couple months ago. So like really infant
Yeah, it was
newborn
pretty
child.
recent.
Well,
Pretty recent.
yeah.
I got to catch a couple of good races. I saw, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I saw an amazing race with Racer 51, not too far back. Um, But one of the things I want to commend you on is when you watch the NRL, one of the things you do really cool and unique is you do these like spotlights, and you'll see these graphics pop up, and then you guys also have, you know, people speaking over, you have spokesmen, you guys are watching the race, having it spectated. How big of a production is this? Is this like 4 or 5 people working at the same time for the same stream? I mean, I know you said you started out all on your own, but how do you get that done? Is it like an organized team, a
Yeah,
designated team?
so yeah, it's definitely a large team. So like what, you know, what you see here, like I'm controlling OBS, right? It's me behind the scenes, and like I'm in a Discord voice and video chat room with the hosts, sharing the stream directly to them so they can react in real time, right? And then I take that, send it over OBS, their voices over OBS, so that way you guys hear them in tune with the actual racing that's happening. Um, Obviously, I'm in the room. I create the lobby. One of the hosts is also in the lobby to capture alternate action. Um, there's an entire productions team behind the scenes that are keeping tabulations on all of the scoring data, and then you know, while interviews are going on, you know, we're building the graphics and all that kind of stuff.
Do you guys are
It's
you
a
guys are doing
huge.
that as the race is occurring, because it's so quick in real time?
Yeah, yeah, and that took a while to get down pat, right? I had to go through like several iterations of like, okay, how can I make this stuff happen quicker, right? And then we also got to be we got to be able to change the camera dynamically. And this is all stuff that like I saw happening in other leagues that like I was like, man, if I was watching, this is what I'd want to see, right? I'd want to see something closer to what Gran Turismo TV, like their channel, actually
Yeah.
puts together for the World Series events, right? Where
Right.
you're looking at a camera and then you're changing dynamically to a different type of view. You're hopping around without like scrolling up and down the field. The hosts don't have double duty where they're also trying to figure out what's going on while talking about it, which is taxing for a host, right?
Right.
Like I want the host to just be able to talk, right? And for me, I just want to be behind the scenes controlling that camera. And we've we've gained such a rapport with each other. Even Tatiana, when they came in season 4, right? Tati, had previous experience with other leagues, and they came in so effortlessly. Like we had a qualifying round, and Flawed, was talking about someone going around track. I forgot which driver it was going around track. This was at Laguna Seca on the Saturday qualifying, and they're
Okay.
like, Tati, take us through this lap. They did not rehearse that, right? We did not plan that at all. We didn't talk about that in the production meeting. And Tati went in and absolutely killed it, like naming all the corners, what you
Shout
gotta
out to
do, how you
Tati.
gotta approach it. And I was
That
like,
takes
this
some
is just a
serious
new,
experience.
yeah, this is just a new level. Like, so
You're
I find myself trying to keep up with these hosts because
so
they know their
I
stuff.
guess that rolls us right into the next point. I definitely want to know kind of the future goals and stuff, but for the NRL. But while we're on the subject of kind of community building and team building and stuff like that, that's one of the things that I've in my short time I've really noticed as an asset is as I've worked now with a lot of other YouTubers, definitely about technology stuff, about the games, in different games. Whereas ACC, I know that you're primarily Gran Turismo, but you're an all round gamer as well. When it comes to the community and this team building, what would you say? How have you kind of been able to do this? Your community is grown huge in 2 years. It sounds like you're working cooperatively and managing a lot of this with a huge network of people. I mean, where does that come from? Is this something that just kind of came natural to you? Was it just from the jump you were able to make friends and network, or has it kind of been trial and error?
Well, I when I first started streaming, it was very casual. The smile is the smile, right? Like this frozen camera on me right now. That's just how I am. And what I didn't know is that how much that actually impacts people, right? Being able to tune into a stream every day, and just whether you're at work or you're eating lunch and you got your phone next to you, or what have you, whether you're watching on demand, because we had some people who always watched on demand, and I'm talking about guys like High Voltage, who's in the UK, right? And he's like, I always watch your streams. I never get to watch them live, but your streams are awesome. Keep it up, right? And then just being that light for them, you know it really it's mutually, it's like a feedback loop, right? Like I'm
Right.
helping them, but like seeing that they're being helped, right, helps me also. And
Oh,
NRL is
for
an
sure.
extension of that,
100%.
right? So like a bunch of people from all different racing teams. I had a list somewhere, I forgot where I put it, like PHG. A lot of recruitment came from NRL, right? Real Squad Racing, right? Eric B's team,
Eric
like we had
B.
some representatives from there also, right? Sector 7 Racing, Go to Instinct, Arc Data Studios. We see you. Um, you know, man, PDX, Red, White, Blue, Racing, like just to name a few, right?
Right.
And they all come together, right? And they all participate in NRL, and for the most part, everybody's able to get along. And I think, like, to a certain degree, that's also kind of why I haven't signed to be on a team per se, right? Because I like being able to talk to like all these representatives. I like to be able to talk to Papa, about PhD things. I like to be able to talk to Nuke about Sector 7 racing things. I like to talk to, La Cabra and Racecraft and all those guys about Goat Instinct things. I like to talk to the PDX boys and all the stuff that they got going on, right? And by having those relationships without like having a tag in front of my name,
Yeah.
it becomes a little bit easier to foster, all those relationships. And I'm not trying to say that anybody else can't do that. I just think it's like it's something that's unique, and that I'm not going to play favorites with anybody, which is
Right.
important,
That
especially when
is,
you're putting up
especially when you're a
money.
host. For
Yeah.
sure. And you guys, you do some prize money. So how does that work too? Because I did notice that you guys, and I think I donated to a couple of races, that you kind of collect the donations and you put that into a pot. How does that work? I mean, for people who've never done
Yeah.
that.
So everyone has to do either a $10 driver fee, or they have to or they sign up through an MVP tier membership to my YouTube channel, right? And then the money from that goes into the pot, as well as any revenue that's generated during these streams. So like donations from you and other people who are feeling generous, that gets added to the pot. And then also, we run ads. Like I don't normally run mid-roll ads on any of my streams, but in NRL we do it in between races because it's a way to passively increase the pot. Not by much, but it does help a little bit. And all of that gets split between the drivers, the hosts, the stewards.
Oh,
And
wow.
season 5 will also include the production team. They were pretty much volunteer basis this time around.
Oh, wow.
And then for me, I don't take any of it. And I try to be as transparent as possible at the end of every round. In the NRL Discord, I post down to the cent what every stream is generated, what the driver pool is. It's all labeled there because again, like when you're dealing with people's money, like you gotta make sure that they can trust you, right? There's a lot at stake here, right?
Correct.
You can't just fly off to Jamaica.
You were telling me as we were talking throughout the week that you would almost rather that the donations went directly, a lot of your proceeds, a lot of the outside of the NRL, but you would rather that directly go to a charity because one of your passions is speaking up on issues going on in the community, issues that we're dealing with as just a worldwide and country issues. And you were letting me know you're very passionate about some of these topics, and it goes directly hand in hand with your community and being a trustworthy person. I definitely like to give you a chance to kind of talk about some of the issues that you like to bring to light and some of the things that your community feels strongly about.
I appreciate that. So like, going back to, early on in my streaming days, going back to some of the comments that I would get in random streams, like some of them almost brought me to tears, man. Like I remember there was a moment upstairs in that hot bedroom with the window down and the rig flexing, where somebody, let me know just how much of an impact I had on their mental health in terms of like, giving them a bright spot in each day. So, from there, I was like, you know what, like, okay, me doing this is like really helping people. And there are things that, people have been affected by.
For
Like,
sure.
we've had community members, lose a loved one to like things like cancer. And like,
Mm,
personally, my dad is a cancer survivor. My mother-in-law is a cancer survivor. I've lost some other family members due to cancer. And, I don't normally talk about that stuff because I don't try. I try to get away from that stuff at times.
yeah.
But we that and a big thing for me is civil liberties, excuse me, civil rights, things of that nature, right?
Right. Of
And
course.
YouTube has this whole thing where like you have to hit a certain subscriber level to be able to put um fundraisers directly into your stream, right? You need 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And for example, like Papa did like a really awesome thing, right? The Hurricane Relief Fund for Florida and
Yes.
and the surrounding states recently, right?
I think it was like
So he
over
collected the
$600, right?
yeah. So he collected all those donations and made sure it went to the right people. And like push could come to shove, like that's something that if I need to do, I'll do. But you know if I can, especially with this momentum that the channel has been seeing recently, like if I can get there and then just put that thing in there, and you guys know that like you will put your $1, $5, $10 donation in there, you get your receipt from Google, you can write it off on your taxes, and then and then for me, because I don't have to handle it, right? Because that third bullet there, man, there's a lot of things going on, right? It takes
Right.
me a while to get back to people sometimes. So like, you know, having you be able to have that interface there to donate to these issues that you and I care about, right?
Yes.
I think that would truly be the goal. Like that these are things that like actually show, what the community is capable of, right? Like
$100.
we call ourselves a community. We uplift each other. This is just an evolution of all that, right? This
I
is the next step.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and then we all, it seems like every episode we bring up Hogston situation. And I don't know if you know Hogston GT, awesome dude out in the UK, very fast driver as well. But just he had a really bad knee injury, and just watching the community come around him. And then after I tell that story, man, talking to Eric and they're rallying around their teammate, New Genetics, and shout out to Magis and all the RSR guys, awesome group of people. And just kind of watching those things happen, and it will bring you to tears, and talking to, and that's why I love doing this, man, is the stories behind why we're behind the wheel. Again, the stories behind how we reduce our stress. Again, referencing back to Hawks and creating a safe place where we can kind of come and decompress ourselves. And then what we do naturally, as when I talk to guys like you who are leaders of men and who want something more than just for themselves, they go out and they build a community, and then they go out and start affecting change, and they start doing things positively. I know you take a lot of pride in being a streamer on YouTube, and particularly, standing up for civil rights and things like that. And I just want to commend you for that. I have a very integrated family and a very integrated social network. So one of the things that's important to me is that, people are treated fairly across the board, and that it doesn't matter, the number next to your name. I've always told people that, the number next to your name doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell anybody that your story, whether it be, Super GT, somebody that you look up to, or Rory, somebody a lot of people look up, Digit, a lot of those guys that got big numbers next to their names. But this community doesn't exist without everybody else, and it's everybody's story that I'm interested in. And if Behind the Wheel goes on to interview hundreds of people, I mean, I'll just be tickled pink from it, because those are all kinds of stories that people get to put behind the name. You see the name McNaughty, and you might think what you want to think, but you don't realize, like, that's so important to you as a childhood, nickname. And then you get to know you, and you see where the smile comes from. And we were talking again about our families and who's watching us on these streams and stuff, and our children are often watching us, and our family members are watching us. So I know that you've practiced some self-regulation. I know that I practice some self-regulation when it comes to being a positive influence on here. So I just want to, again, commend you on that. You were telling us kind of some of your reasons why you want to be, you want to be a good impression and a good example on people. So again, man, just kudos to you. Kudos to the fatherhood. Kudos to all things. The NRL is an amazing league. The production value, the team behind it, all the shout outs to everybody out there today. I always want to talk about one thing at the end of our shows as we're kind of winding down here. And shout out to us, man. We're going over an hour, so killer content. But if you could go back to the very beginning, is there any advice you'd give yourself, or maybe just some advice for people who are listening, who, I mean, I'm at 750 or so. I forgot what the number is. But I watch you as a mentor, and your energy and your positivity. That's something that I really gather from your channel. But again, if you could go back and talk to yourself and some of us rookies that are trying to get to where you're going, what would you tell us?
Well, I would tell myself. I think there's two answers here. There's something I would tell myself, and there's something that I would tell all of my fellow content creators who are coming up. What I would tell myself is just to not worry about the small things, right? Because I tend to be kind of like a type A type of personality, type, really caring about the details, like perfection and all this kind of stuff. um I would tell myself not to worry about, like, okay, if you get upset, you're allowed to get upset. You're allowed to, you're allowed to be vulnerable. You're allowed to, you know, be unapologetically you, right?
Right.
That's what I would tell myself. And like what you see now isn't necessarily compared to like how I was when I first started streaming, excuse me, is it's not necessarily a change of personality. It's just me becoming more comfortable showing, everyone, showing the world, who I am, right?
Right.
And what I represent, right? Um, and then what I would tell everyone else is, uh, don't worry about like not being good at creating content, or don't worry about not being quick, right? Just go in and start, because all that stuff will happen, right? The it sounds kind of cliche, but like a piece of advice that people often give is that, you know you have to start. You have to start. You have to keep going, right?
Yes.
You
You
can't
do hear
just be
that.
discouraged because your sub count doesn't grow as much as you want. Say you
Right.
get 50 subs like 1 week, and then the next week you get like 2,
Right.
right? That stuff will come. It will come, right? You will have a breakthrough. Like, just recently, I had a breakthrough myself, right? I've been creating shorts Monday through Friday for almost 2 years straight, every single
Wow.
weekday of short
You're a short
releases.
form. You really like the
And
short form content.
well, it's one of those YouTube hacks, man. Like, the tool is available, right? So like I kind of just use it. But I had a breakthrough there where, I finally had a short that like got over like 100,000 views, like got like,
Ooh. Wow.
6K likes and whatnot. And I was like, holy crap, like I finally did it. I don't know what I did exactly, but this evolution from my first short to now is like working. And then those moments are pulled from, your live streams, right? So like, man, I feel like I went off on a tangent
No,
there,
you're
but
good.
like,
It's
uh
amazing information. I'm sitting here, I'm taking mental notes because again, the short form content, I don't think enough of us take enough time to get that out there. I know I slack on it, but you're right. I mean, you can reuse all the content you've already had, but just by kind of going through and finding different moments, and you never really know what moment's going to be. I see a lot of success on punt videos. I see a lot of success
mm,
on through goes whoever. Rory kind of started that trend. So and really, if you go back to every race, there's something cool. That's why I try to tell people, watch your replays, try to get a couple different perspectives of the incident or the scene that you're trying to project. And then even
mhm.
with just even the behind the wheel stuff with taking little clips. I mean, I think the most successful clip was just Greasy talking about, what he did before when he was working at Nissan. So you never
Yeah,
really
yeah.
know. People are attracted to personalities and they're attracted to your smiles, and I think as the community grows, they really get engaged with whatever your vibe is. And if you're vibing well, you're going to get people that kind of vibe well with you. We've all seen the negativity, we've all seen the people that pop up and like to create chaos and stuff like that. But I think, like you said, if you just get out there and you just keep pushing it out there. And I actually heard something that Mr. Beast had said a long time ago. He said, if you don't got 1,000 videos, don't even talk to me. He said, because you got to get them out there. You got to just keep going,
Yeah,
get to the
yeah.
next video, get to the next thing. You've added a little bit more organization to it. I definitely think the short form content is important. I think the forever content is important. I think behind the wheel here,
Yes.
we have found a way to create forever content. Content that people can come back to, content that people can share, can reference to, and just really have, kind of a kickback, relaxing thing. When it comes to sim racing, there's so many races happening all the time that if you don't have kind of an NRL, which creates that forever content, if you don't have that
Mhm.
stuff, then really get into the short format content because it's constantly being produced and it takes you 30 seconds to make something. So is there an app that you like to use, like CapCut, or I like to use Filmora? Is there anything that you use specifically, or are you just using the YouTube platform as itself?
I actually use Adobe Premiere Pro because my wife is an educator, so there's a heavy discount on
Ah,
the Adobe suite of apps. So I got into that. I actually have an hour long course on how exactly I make YouTube Shorts. Like, I take you through it step by step, and then I do a real speed example, because for those shorts that get released, it takes no more than 15 minutes to create a single one, even with the text transcribing. So
how far
that
back is
is
that?
that
That's
is
just
in
in your videos?
that is a members only video though.
Gotcha.
It is a members only
So
video.
y'all want to
So
learn how to make, and as it should be. It sounds like it's an amazing video. TK said it's so good, And TK's another good guy, man. Shout out to TK's again, who's been here the whole
big shout
time.
out to TK's.
Love you, brother. You got an awesome channel. TK's always expanding. He's got races with TK's, right? Or is it lobbies with TK's?
TK's Tuesdays.
TK's Tuesdays, man. Check that out. Definitely check out McNaughty's video on how to make shorts. It's very important. He had that 100K view video, 6K likes on a video. I think the most I've ever gotten is 6K views. So I'm going to definitely check that out. I appreciate you putting that out there, and everybody else who's put out content like that. Like, it helps a ton. You never know who you're going to vibe with. You never know who's going to say the right little thing. So I always like to kind of watch those in the background while I'm doing stuff. And it's definitely helpful. Definitely helpful. Somebody said, "Long live the Smurfs." Chris Wood wants to know what's your go-to car on GT7?
Oh, it's that AMG, baby.
That AMG?
Group 3 Merc.
Why is that? Isn't there two different versions of that, or is that the 16?
Yeah, so there's there's three. There's the SLS, which I don't use. But when I first started playing Gran Turismo, the 2016 was the version. I'm a Merc fan because I am a Mercedes F1 fan, and more specifically a Lewis Hamilton fan. Despite him leaving, I'll still be a Merc fan. So I was like, oh yeah, let me use this car, and it was like halfway decent. Then they came out with the 2020 version, so I switched to that because it was better, not much better, as evidenced by the NRL final for season 4. So go check that out. You'll see why I say that the 2016 is still competitive.
Gotcha.
But sorry. So like the that's my go-to car, and it tends to be.
So this one right here, right? This one right here.
Is that W15? That's not W15. That's
but I got my little. I got
W11 probably.
I got my little Mercedes here.
If they're making Legos, it's probably like a W11.
But yeah, that's why when he said that, I was like, oh, I got a little Mercedes over there.
Yeah.
My son makes those for me, man. I got a couple of them over here. So shout out to my boy. What's your favorite track? Hulky wants to know.
Oh, favorite track. It's tough. I like Spa, not so much anymore after I had to spend like 6 hours racing around it. But Grand Valley Highway, actually, the Grand Valley 1, the regular layout, forward layout.
Grand Valley.
I really enjoy that because it has twists and turns. It has long straights. It has technical sections. It has camber. It really challenges you. And I always like a good challenge. I think yeah, that's pretty much.
Are you more of like an endurance racer, like a sprint racer? Do you like to run the long laps in the dynamic weather, or do you like a clean track, quick race?
Yeah, I like both, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I had as much time as I wanted, I would do endurance races more often. Because I like being able to plan the strategy, being able to recover if you make a mistake. But just where my life is right now, I would have to say that I prefer sprint races.
Nice. For me, getting used to it still, I'm still like, my tracks are I love Kyoto and I love Brands Hatch just because I'm good at them. Or so decently good. I love Iger Norvon too.
Do you like the which layout of Kyoto? Was it the one that we just did?
The one we're doing right now. But I like it on GR4s. GR3s are a little bit more tougher for me. But the Lambo and the GR4, that's my beast. And I do really well with it. I like to make it slide a little bit. I like to go -2 in the front, which I know is a little bit different, I hear, because I don't know, that car turns so sharply for me, and I really like the slide. Yeah. I don't know. It's a fun car.
I feel the same way because it's like one of the few Group 4 cars that actually tends to handle closer to a Group 3 car.
Yeah. And it's probably,
Most of the
what do you
Group
think?
4
It's the
cars are
all-wheel
like
drive on
understeer.
that, or what do you think contributes to that? Just maybe the Huracan is
It's
that good?
I would say more than anything, it's probably the suspension
Gotcha.
that the bop forces you to use,
Interesting.
right?
Okay.
So I haven't looked at it, but if it tends to get oversteery under engine braking, I think the suspension probably is a little soft.
Gotcha.
But yeah, don't quote me on that. I
Hulky
haven't
also
checked
wants to
it.
know if you had to do 200 laps in a race, which one would you pick?
Uh, probably what's that oval track, the first one in the game?
Yeah. It's like
That
40
one, so I could get it
seconds.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I could get
And
it done
even
in a
that,
couple
man, what
hours.
did you watch Rory's like 200 laps at Nords with the dynamic weather?
No, because I listen, I don't envy anybody for doing that. Rory's done it,
Oh my
Tidgny's
gosh.
done it, Super GT's done it, and I don't envy any of them. So like
It
I
looks
might turn it for a
painful.
couple minutes, but
Yeah.
that's like
I think I did stick with him for a while there. I think I watched I think I got in probably lap 67 and I passed out at like lap 183. It was like 2 in the freaking morning. Oh,
oh my
shout out to
goodness.
guys who do that. I know Hogston likes to run a couple of long races. He's got a race coming up on the 27th. That's gonna be 200 laps that unfortunately I couldn't be in because it would have been a 2 a.m. start time for me. And yeah, I'm not
Sheesh.
waking up the house that early. I got butt kickers on this thing too. So I was telling you earlier, I love your soundtrack because when I put it on, I still had the rig going and it just completely shook the house. So if you
Yeah,
guys
I
ever
gotta
hear,
hit you up because I got a butt kicker in a bag like literally across the room from me
oh,
that a
nice.
friend gave me, and I never set it up, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah, you
I
get
gotta see what that's about.
so I had the only thing I had to do was put a wood base underneath the butt kicker and then drill that to the frame of the chair because if you don't put the butt kickers on solid frames because it's not the sound
Mm.
or it's sound vibrations rather than giving an actual speaker. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4 on all 4 corners. I got the bigger one underneath my seat, and then connected to that, I have a 8-inch JL audio sub on a 2500 watt amp with a MIDI connected to that. All of that running into a Pioneer receiver, a 12-channel Pioneer receiver that lets me kind of control a little bit more. And then on SimHub, you're able to adjust the wind or the braking, whether it be in the front of the car or the back of the car, where you want the engine rumble playing. It's really cool. It's a cool sensation, and that's what I want to get that set up with VR is probably my next biggest thing. I don't know if you've gotten into VR, but that looks insanely awesome. And then
First
maybe
of all,
motions.
I want to say I know the camera's frozen right now, but my eyes are literally popping out of my head when you went over all that stuff that was connected to the MIDI controller. I don't know what that was, but that sounds complicated. I'm gonna need to take some notes.
It's fun. It's the sound is
But
cool.
but the VR, I would love nothing more to be able to try that. Unfortunately, I have like crazy motion sickness. Like
Ah,
I'm talking like I can't even like my son the other day like wanted to do Ring Around the Rosie with me and my wife, and like I had to stop after like
jeez, yeah.
games of Ring Around the Rosie with a 3-year-old because I was getting dizzy.
Hey, those be some serious ring around the rosies, let me tell you. Especially when you start getting them up, and then Mama starts looking over like, "You hurt my baby. It's gonna be problems." Bro, I get them looks all the time, man, because I'd be throwing my little girl, man, just whew.
Catching that air, they love it, man. They
Oh
love
yeah.
it
Oh,
though.
dude, she's such a daredevil, man. It's an awesome age when they're that little, and then they just start eating more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, yeah, so on my rig specifically, I got the butt kicker set up. The VR stuff is cool. I haven't done too much motion things in my life. I went deep sea fishing a couple times and I didn't get sick there and there. So I'm hoping, and I've only tried VR on like the Oculus on like an older version of it. So, but I know just
Mhm.
watching Zilla now, watching even Gibo and Eric Be the Realist, it seems like VR is really starting to catch some steam. For me personally though, as a viewer, I have I have noticed a taper off from people really engaging, because again, like you said, it's your smile, it's your face, it's your personality, it's the vibe you have with your community. And part of me thinks in a little bit of way that the VR kind of separates, creates a barrier there. So I'm interested in how the VR market grows, and how people kind of carry themselves while they're on VR to continue engaging. I've noticed people use like the voice, the kind of the YouTube,
like the speech chat.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, that to me kind of gets repetitive too, because you hear all that dialogue, like chat's popping off right now for us, and you would hear kind of that repeat. So I'm always interested in how people regulate that kind of stuff and their
Yeah.
tolerance for that kind of data.
So like the whole VR thing, like I think as a viewer for myself, like it's hard enough for me to like watch VR like if I had it on my face and playing. When you are not the head that is in control and looking around, it adds another level of like, oh man, I don't know how long I can watch. So like when I pop in streams, I'll hit the thumbs up button, I'll send a message in chat, and then kind of put the phone to the side, check in when the race is done, because then the camera stabilizes.
Right.
And then as far as the chat in the ear, I think that's invaluable. But I think an important thing to do is to make sure that the stream can't hear that
Right.
it's reading the message. So like
And
I
that
have
happens
audio
too. That
in my
gets,
ear.
yeah, and
So
part
like
of me too, because sometimes, so I'm such a big fan of the YouTube community. There's always someone on to watch. There's always someone to hang out with, and you almost feel like you're not given enough time. And I know, I can imagine, with 4,000 subscribers and the journey you've been on, how hard it's been to maintain like genuine relationships. And part of me goes about that on my side is when I see someone, I click on them. I try not to skip anybody,
Yeah.
and I try to just spend time on that channel. I'll watch a race, and I try to be clear, like, hey, just dropping in, or I got something to do, because I don't want anybody making a fool of themselves, like, hey, VKG, what da 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 da, and then it's like a moment of silence, and then everybody's like, well, that guy's gone. So I try to be, a good community member in that sense. And I want to actually introduce somebody right now who just jumped
Sure.
in. It's Gutter the Great. He's a Madden player and a Call of Duty
What's up,
player.
Greta?
Dude's got an awesome channel, awesome vibe. He makes his own music, and he just messaged me the other day. He rewarded himself as a Christmas present. He's got a full box frame rig. He got himself, I believe he went out and got himself a G20 something, but it looked decent. And he's just now getting into the sim racing community. So everybody give
Welcome
Gutter a
in.
warm welcome. Yeah, you're coming in at a good time. McNaughty is the dude when it comes to tech. He's got a lot of experience with this stuff. Great channel for you to jump on. So if you guys haven't checked him out, check him out, man. So for all those who are aspiring sim racers, just getting into it, please go back and check out all the amazing advice, all the amazing upgrades that have happened, kind of the story behind why we're sitting behind the wheel. Maybe you're going to vibe with McNaughty. Maybe you like the smile. Maybe you just want to get in the NRL and win a little bit of money. Either way, man, it's an awesome that we had you on the show today, dude. I'm so excited. I know you got some merch going on. So I do want to show that before we leave. And you got I put the link in the description. But you have to date right now, it looks like you got some water bottles, some jerseys, some hats, some cool things like that. Let's check this out. We got coffee mugs.
Yeah, we got some mugs, we got some hats, some hoodies. There's the NRL jersey. There is an offering for a custom jersey, so we can custom make those. The lead time is a little bit bigger, but that can be done too. So McNaughty.gg is my website. So if you go to McNaughty.gg/shop, you can see all the merchandise there. If you want the streamlined experience, you just want to click it and get it shipped immediately, meaning like you don't want the custom jersey. You can also go to shop.mcnaughty.gg. Either one works. So yeah, if you're interested in a merch, feel free to check it out.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. And that's
yeah.
one of the cool things too. So advice on merch stores, when you get to a certain point, you can add, your merch to your, I believe for me, it was 500 subs and 3,000 watch hours when I got access to that. I chose to do it on Fourth Wall. I don't know if you're doing that. But fourth wall seems to be a really cool, on-site storage. You can design stuff, and even if you just want to make ideas, kind of sets your, what you want to make on that and what you don't. I also make like gear at home and stuff, so I was trying to ship that stuff out. I did like a swag bag for PhD that I'm going to be sending him out. But again, times get tough for all of us. A lot of us got families. You guys know I'm a big family guy. Most of the guys out here, big family guys. But what I've learned is if people who really invest in time on here, there's an awesome story behind it. There's usually a lot of awesome reasons, and they're usually trying to do something really cool. So again, you guys check that out. If you want to support McNaughty, you want to support the NRL, you want to support these amazing drivers and teams that are competing, season 5 is coming soon, right?
Yeah, let's I don't have an exact date yet, but look forward to it in early 2025.
Heck yeah.
Let's say first quarter, second quarter,
Okay.
2025. It's
So
definitely
early
coming.
2025. I'm sure there's going to be a pot involved with that. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of amazing competition. The production value is going to be amazing. Hopefully, I'll scrape up some confidence to maybe compete in one of the NRLs. I haven't
Just
competed
get in there, sign up.
I haven't
Man.
competed in any of them yet because I just haven't been able to commit to a time. My time fluctuates a lot when it comes to the kiddos. So, but man, I appreciate you coming here all the way from New Jersey. I know it's late. I know I'm keeping you up. So if you want to just kind of take a moment to say your goodbyes, any shout outs to the chat, you got a lot of guys watching here.
Well, for sure, VKG. Shout out to you for having me on here. This is a great production that you're putting on here. You really are letting the community see what goes on behind the wheel.
Thank you, man.
We're able to talk about things that really matter and things that are actually like deeper than the sometimes surface level that you see on a day-to-day stream. So salute to you for coming up with this idea to learn more about all of our favorite streamers.
Yes, sir.
um,
Thank you.
big shout out to TK's in the chat. Day one NRL host. Big shout out to everybody who showed up in chat today. I got a little chat open here. Hulky 10, Chris, Tension, Blown Piston. Listen, all you guys, salute to you guys for supporting VKG with your memberships, getting involved, and honestly, this is an inspiration for VKG. I'm sure this is an inspiration for me
Yes,
to
sir.
keep pushing forward and keep growing and keep building this community. So I
Sure.
appreciate each and every one of you guys.
Dude, thank you so much, man. The kind words, they definitely hit close to home. We've had some amazing discussions, dude. I look forward to just growing our friendship, man. I've looked up to you, since when I jumped on here, and it's really cool to kind of go from like a fan, to a friend. And I think that the behind the wheel mission to get more communities involved with each other, overlapping these communities, kind of exposing people to a lot of people that I consider to be good ambassadors in YouTube and just amazing community growers. So again, man, shout out to you. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, brother, I'll let you get back to your fam, man. Appreciate you.
All right, have a good night.
Later,
Take
brother.
care, all.
Thank you guys for being here, man. How was that? Do you guys think that went well? You think McNaughty was a good guest? I am super stoked and excited. I've learned a ton. I think I've gained an awesome mentor in just the tech side and some of the things that I've been working on, some of the problems that I've been having just with OBS or just kind of looking at different wheels and different setups and just kind of what people are doing and how to expand our racecraft, getting into the NRL and maybe competing in some of these leagues, winning a little bit of money. Those things, how do you know about those stuff if you really don't kind of get out there and learn about those stuff? So I appreciate everybody for being here. Thank you guys so much for the new members, for everybody who participated in chat, all my community members, and all the people that I'm a community member with. I really hope that we continue to be strong ambassadors here. I really hope that we continue to support each other and we get a positive mission out there. And remember, man, you get faster by making friends, learning racecraft. There's so much content out there that people are making, so much effort and energy that people are putting out there. And I really hope that we can get you guys on the episodes in the future and that we continue to keep this momentum going. I love you guys. I love my community. I'm so grateful for everybody who's been here. Chris, Gutta, thanks, man. I really appreciate you coming out. I'm glad you made it. I'm really excited for you and your journey. Misa, thank you so much for all your support and me and what I'm doing in the community. And I hope everybody who got memberships, you guys pay that forward and you go out there and you make a positive impact. I will see you guys soon. I'm going to go chase that death chicane this week. I promise you I'm going to get back. Thank you guys for all your warmness and support for kind of the difficult period that I went through over this last couple of weeks, and being just understanding when we jump on here. To all the new subscribers and everybody, I really hope that I can continue to put out, forever content and have some fun out there on the tracks with you guys. So until next time, y'all, Viking King is out.